You buy the premium food, the towering cat trees, and the expensive toys. But here is the fascinating truth: your cat doesn't care about any of that. They operate on a secret ancient grading system, and right now, they are actively scoring you. Every weird habit, the unblinking stares, the shadowy following the rhythmic kneading, is a calculated evaluation. It is their silent report card. If your cat displays even three of the behaviors in this video, you haven't just earned their trust, you are their entire universe. And the final sign: it is so rare most owners never witness it. Let's decode the hidden language your cat is using to grade you. Sign 1. They are waiting at the door and it has nothing to do with food. You return home after an exhausting workday, turn your key, and before the door swings open, they are sitting right there. The common assumption is that your pet is simply hungry or bored, but behavioral science tells a much more emotional story. Researchers at Oregon State University conducted extensive studies on how felines form attachments. What they discovered stunned the scientific community. Domestic cats develop secure attachment bonds functionally identical to the ones human infants form with their parents. We constantly label felines as fiercely independent creatures, yet your cat did not rush to the entrance because their bowl was empty. They were waiting because your absence was deeply felt. They strategically positioned themselves to ensure you were the very first thing they interacted with upon your return. That is not just a quirky habit. That is pure devotion wrapped in fur. Sign 2. They initiate the slow blink from across the room. You are sitting quietly and you notice your cat staring at you. Then, very deliberately, their eyelids lower, halfway hold that position, and slowly open again. It looks like exhaustion, but it is actually a highly sophisticated micro-expression. In 2020, researchers at the University of Sussex ran a clinical study on this facial movement. They found that slow blinking directly creates a measurable positive emotional response in cats. Think about the heavy evolutionary weight of this action. In the wild, closing your eyes in the presence of another creature is an absolute death sentence. It is the exact fraction of a second a predator needs to launch a fatal strike. By deliberately breaking their visual focus and making themselves temporarily blind in your presence, your cat is actively overriding a fundamental survival instinct hardwired into their DNA. That slow blink translates directly to absolute trust. Try reciprocating tonight and watch how their body language shifts. Sign 3. They firmly press their forehead against yours. Often referred to as head bunting, this occurs when your cat marches directly up to you and firmly bonks their head against your face or shin. Many dismiss this as a clumsy request for affection, but the neurobiology driving this gesture is profoundly intimate. Felines possess highly concentrated scent glands located strategically on their foreheads, lips, and cheeks. When they press these specific areas against your skin, they are actively depositing completely unique chemical markers known as pheromones. In the wild, wildcats only perform this vulnerable action with core members of their trusted colony to create a unified family scent. It is a brilliant biological mechanism for identifying friend from foe. By physically marking you with these glands, they are weaving your presence into their own biological identity. You are no longer just a roommate providing shelter. In their complex neurological map, you are officially recognized as family. Sign 4. The straight-up vibrating tail quiver. You walk into the room and your cat approaches you with their tail standing straight up like a flagpole, vibrating rapidly at the base. Novice owners sometimes confuse this intense motion with an anxious stress response, but it is the exact opposite. This specific micro-movement is an involuntary neurological reaction to overwhelming joy. In standard feline body language, a vertically raised tail is a polite greeting. But when you add that rapid, uncontrollable quiver, it means their central nervous system is completely flooded with positive, excitatory neurochemicals just from laying eyes on you. They literally cannot contain their intense happiness, and the excess energy shakes out through their tail muscles. It is the feline equivalent of jumping up and down for joy. They are not asking for a treat. They are simply thrilled to the core that you exist in their immediate space. Sign 5. They synchronize their biological clock with yours. Cats are naturally crepuscular hunters, meaning they are biologically hardwired by millions of years of evolution to be most active during the twilight hours of dawn and dusk. Yet somehow, your domestic cat has miraculously adapted to sleep deeply when you sleep and wake up when your alarm goes off. This is absolutely not an accident. Felines are notoriously stubborn about their biological routines. For a cat to completely alter their internal circadian rhythm to match a human's schedule requires an unprecedented level of social integration. They are actively suppressing thousands of years of deep-seated hunting instincts just to seamlessly mirror your daily lifestyle. They want to be fully active when you are available, and they choose to power down when you are resting. This profound physiological synchronization proves that you are the undeniable center of their daily universe, dictating the very rhythm of their life. Sign 6. They must maintain physical contact while sleeping. They do not necessarily need to sleep directly on top of your chest, but they will always leave one paw resting heavily on your arm, holding that single point of contact throughout the entire night. Sleep is the single most defenseless state any animal can enter. Evolution demands that a resting solitary predator remain completely hidden and perfectly secure from larger threats. Yet your cat deliberately chooses to spend their most vulnerable physiological hours anchored directly to your body. They have an entire house full of plush blankets and heated mats, but they intentionally bypass all of those optimal locations just for you. That tiny point of physical contact is highly intentional and deeply strategic. It is their way of physically monitoring your presence while they allow their conscious mind to power down. In their assessment of the world, you are their designated impenetrable safe harbor. Sign 7. They need you with slow, rhythmic precision. This is the ultimate gesture, the one that almost no cat will ever perform with a stranger. They climb onto your lap and begin that slow, rhythmic pushing motion with their front paws pressing deeply into your skin. We know from behavioral observation that this action originates in early infancy. Kittens instinctively need their mother's belly to stimulate the flow of milk. It is the very first physical action intimately connected to absolute warmth, vital nourishment, and perfect safety. But the science of why they continue to do it as fully grown adults changes everything. The specific neural pathways that light up in the brain during adult kneading are the exact same pathways forged during that initial maternal bond. Adult cats only knead when their current environment provides a level of emotional security that perfectly mirrors the absolute safety of being a newborn. Your cat is actively demonstrating that you have seamlessly taken over the protective role of their mother. You have become the physical embodiment of safety. That slow, rhythmic push is the absolute deepest expression of love a feline can possibly offer. So take a moment to evaluate your bond. How many of these 7 profound behavioral signs does your companion display on a regular basis? Count them up carefully, because if you hit 3 or more, you have achieved something truly remarkable in the field of animal-human relationships. You are not simply pouring premium kibble into a ceramic bowl or routinely scooping a litter box. You have successfully bypassed an apex predator's ancient, hardwired survival instincts and built a rock-solid foundation of absolute, unwavering trust. Out of every comfortable spot, fascinating distraction, and hidden sanctuary in the entire world, your cat looks at their endless options and chooses you entirely on their own terms every single day. They do not do this out of necessity or because they are trapped indoors. They do it because you have consistently made them feel secure enough to completely let go of their wild instincts. You did not just give them a warm place to live, you became their actual home. Understanding these hidden mechanisms allows us to appreciate the true depth of our relationships with these magnificent creatures. I would genuinely love to know more about the incredible animal that chose to share their life and territory with you. Leave a comment down below and tell me, what is your cat's name?